Why do we eat turkey at Christmas?
Well, traditionally it was goose, wasn't it? And then turkey, it's much easier to exploit the species, mass rear them in inhumane ways. And
Jeez. Yeah, not what I was expecting. But that's kind of where I'm going with it. In this animal-eating society, we're sort of, as young kids, we're programmed to have certain behaviours, and one of them is eating animals. When you're a child, you're very impressionable, and you grow up as an adult, and you kind of carry on that tradition. But it doesn't stand out. I think it stands out really clearly at Christmas time, because it's like all of a sudden we just eat this species of animal, and it's like, why? Well, it's a tradition. And I guess where I go from there is like, just because something is a tradition, does that mean that we should A, carry it on, and B, does that mean that it's like okay?
No, it's tradition is good, but not all traditions are good. And
sure.
It's just like, we can create new traditions, can't we?
I'm vegan. I've been vegan nearly 5 years, and about 3 or 4 years ago I started a new tradition of buying, it's called tofurkey, and it's basically made of tofu, but it tastes like turkey, and no one is kept in a barn for 5 months artificially. Like, I don't know if you know this, you seem to know something about turkeys and the way they're inhumanely raised, but turkeys are so large now that all of them have to be artificially and forcibly impregnated. They can't breed by themselves because they're so big. So they're all forcibly impregnated. They're kept in a barn for like 5 months. In a lot of places in the world, their beaks are cut off and they're sent to slaughter. They're hung upside down. Their heads get dipped through an electric bathtub, and then their throats are sliced. Christmas is a time of like good cheer, and a time where we stop and think about like the good things we want to do in the new year, and talk about promoting peace. How do you think those two things are compatible, or the tradition of eating turkey and violence and Christmas?
There's a lot of how we do society, like it's incompatible. Like, and actually, just speaking of the species of the turkey, ironically, like, we actually threaten our own species, because the antibiotics, like 60% of the world's antibiotics is fed to animals.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that's creating a
antibiotic resistance
in us. Yeah.
This guy's done a bit of research. Respect.
It breaks my heart, like you're talking about being vegan. I do eat meat, but I eat it in a way that's respectful. And
I have to ask you, what way is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't overconsume, and I make sure that the animals, or the traceability, and that's coming from, there's a great cooperative farm out in Larne, Jubilee, and they rear animals. And I mean, I think, it's just we have industry and corporate greed has overdeveloped the industries, and we just need to scale back, but I think vegans would obviously disagree, I think because I think there is room for us all, and we are animals. All animals eat meat, and So
would you, on that point, would you actually be surprised to learn that like 80% of all animals on Earth are actually herbivorous?
Right.
The majority of animals actually don't eat other animals. I've looked into this because
that correlates with India's sort of
philosophy of vegetarianism and that. No, the thing is, people sort of say, oh, well, animals eat other animals in the wild, therefore, like, it's okay for me. But I would sort of say, shouldn't we model the most dominant? Like, if we're going to go look to behaviour in the wild, the majority of animals actually don't.
Yeah, but you've got to be realistic. Like, everyone's eating meat.
Oh, yeah, I'm so aware of that.
If you come in at them, like, with that extreme argument to go vegan, it's like, it's with trying to just, meet in the middle, I guess, is a better pathway to follow, in terms of encouraging the change, the necessary change.
So do you feel at all conflicted then, in terms of, you seem like...
I've got a split personality, you see.
That's okay. I'm speaking to both of them. I mean, do you feel like conflicted in the sense that you seem to know the degree of harm that comes with, like... I don't want to say big farms, big scale business. That is like genuinely true when it comes to animal agriculture. But I mean, you seem to know a bit about like the welfare of animals in regard to them just being farmed alone. So I'm saying, do you feel like conflicted at all as someone who still consumes like animal products then at times? Do you ever feel like there's a...
Oh, yeah. totally conflicted. You know, I just, you know, I don't necessarily. I hate being one of those people that doesn't practice what I preach. You know, and I have.
We can all relate to that.
Yeah, I do. You know, I do like partake at the table, like and eat meat, but there is that conflict. You know, like there's just something, and I think that's just your inner self like speaking to you, and you got to listen to that.
Yeah. 100%. Have you thought about? I know I'm really grilling you here. I'm not keeping you much longer. You were good enough to give me some of your time. Have you thought about, you know, those farms, like you've got the traceability with that farm, and you've maybe seen like some of their policies and whatever, and they look after the animals and maybe they're free range and they have a good quality of life. Have you thought about, like, when it comes to the day of slaughter, those animals, like, against their will, are shoved onto a truck, against their will, taken off the truck, put into a slaughterhouse, and the thing is, because I feel like sometimes people can let themselves off the hook by thinking that, oh, well, they're better quality those animals had, but they in all likelihood still end up at the same slaughterhouse as all the other animals, slaughtered just the exact same. And the thing is, I know it's uncomfortable to think about.
It is, and I have.
But that's the thing we need to think about the most. Yeah, I've seen so much slaughterhouse footage.
Bourdain the other day, and
what were you watching with him? Because I know he was a chef, and
and he actually committed suicide on my birthday in 2018. Man. And I'm a chef as well, and but
kept that one under wraps.
That's cool. Yes, I think he was in Mexico, and they were slaughtering a pig, and you saw it, and you know, even the pig knew that what was coming up.
And
the distress, like, but can you actually thinking of the people who work in these environments as well.
They're victims of the system too.
Well, because that must be traumatic, like on a subconscious level.
Yeah.
There's
a good bit of research that shows people that work in slaughterhouses have higher rates of like depression and alcohol and drug abuse and violent crimes. It's like you say, no one aspires to the position of slicing throats and cutting heads off all day long. So people are exploited in like the capitalist system to do stuff that their natural inclination isn't to do. And I do sympathise with that, though my sympathy, I have to say, goes out more to the animals that they are murdering. Yes, they're collateral also. Where I'm going with it is, like, do you feel like it can ever be humane to take an animal's life, even from high welfare farms? Bearing in mind that the animal never has a preference to be like slaughtered. Do you think you can ever like do that in a humane way, in a high welfare, in that sort of way?
Yeah, I do feel you can create an environment like where it is less traumatic, on all sides, for the animal as well. And
you said less traumatic, right? Do you? So it's still traumatic then?
Yeah.
Would that be humane?
But it had a good life. It was well cared for, and
if someone come at you with a knife and said, "Look, mate, you've had a good life. You're well cared for," would you say it's okay to be murdered?
Has come at me with a knife before.
And did you feel like it was okay?
Terrified? No, not totally violated.
Yeah, that's what every single animal, free range, organic, high welfare, red tractor, whatever. It's exactly what every single animal feels.
Yeah. And then you see, there's so many sides to the argument. It's like it's necessary sometimes to control populations.
Yeah. Are you talking about humans or animals?
Well, I'm talking about animals, but obviously,
animal population
out there about human population control.
Yeah. We will not go down that rabbit hole right now. You touched on a valid point though. All animals that are consumed are their population is controlled because most of them are artificially inseminated. So they're forced into existence.
Yes.
We're talking about billions of animals a week, which is so far out of the natural order of like sex, that animals reproducing by themselves. So it's completely controlled. Were you going to capitalise on that point? You were sort of saying like there's many sides to the argument, and you'd brought up the fact.
I was just thinking of just like in certain parts of Scotland or something, like the deer population, like it needs for the maintenance of the land, for and I suppose that takes into consideration like the entire environment around and other animal species, there is I suppose there's method in the madness.
That is a valid point to bring up. I feel I'm debating in myself whether or not to talk about it, because I feel like that is something that's over there. Like, me and you aren't going out in the wild to shoot deer, and the majority of people aren't. While some people do it, I still personally feel there isn't a justification, because anyone that's leaving society to go do that is coming back to society where they can go into a supermarket and just buy something that's vegan. But I'm more so saying, like, there's room for that conversation. But I'm talking to you, and I'm saying, like, you're not going to go do the shooting of the deer in the wild. So where I'm trying to go is, like, I'm just one person, you're just one person, and I can't stop everyone at the same time and have a conversation. I'm trying to grow with people while I have them, and say, look, we can make better choices. We can have these uncomfortable conversations and talk about stuff that kind of make us want to shy away. But ultimately, that is a good thing, because it reveals that there is something there that we need to address and that we aren't currently. And the good news is, like, that feeling of incongruity or being out of alignment with your core principles, like, it goes away when you completely embody the vegan philosophy, because you're no longer doing something that you know. Maybe deep down, it hasn't clicked up here yet, but you know that it isn't right and it isn't good karma and all that. So
this is about harm reduction, they talk about that a lot, and addiction and things, and just, that is the starting point, to address any issue that is, like, at odds with our
inner harmony, the cognitive dissonance.
There you go. It's harm reduction. And I think that's got to be the starting point, and I think that's, like, I mean, fair play to vegans. Like, I'm all on for disrupting, going out and into the outside the factories or wherever it is.
And we do that too. Sadly, it makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. Sadly, sometimes you have to irritate people a little bit. If people are comfortable with doing something, they're not really gonna want to change or feel like they should change. But you've kind of to say, look, I know you've got a heart, and I know you've got a brain, and I know that we're all conditioned and programmed. Our behaviour, like most of our behaviour, is subconscious. It's beneath our conscious awareness. So just kind of saying, like, I had this awakening, this realisation. I seen a speech. A guy was talking about it through the eyes of an animal and showed, like, graphic footage. And so I really got it straight into the heart, and I was like, right, I can't unsee this. I can't dance around it. Like, I know the right thing to do here, and if I'm gonna not do it and look the other way, then shame on me, because I know better. So that was a mouthful. I know that was a lot. I'm trying to, like, not talk so much and ask more questions in these interviews.
Let's bring it back to Christmas.
Like,
I suppose what can you do, like, to engage with the public at large, or doing it, like, Northern Ireland's a great wee petri dish, for change. We're like a nice, easy,
wide range of people, a good bit of diversity, I'd say, in Northern Ireland. Man, you've been great. This has been a good interview. I just want to say, I just want you to know that you can, like, fully embody that if you so wish to. I can give you information card, some resources, and that changed my mind, and that's all I'm trying to do. Change people's minds, and just what I feel is, like, align them with, like, who they always were. And I've just kind of, it's society that does that to us. It takes us away from, the way we live these days. It's not in harmony with nature. It's not in harmony with, like, promoting wellness. So with that is going to be collateral of us losing our essence. You know what I mean? So thanks very much, man. What's your name?
Dominic.
Dominic Thomas. Respect. I'll give you a card now, man.